sharing with us their thoughts, their strategies, their insights. So for today, please ensure it's very important, whenever you attend webinars, you have to ensure that you have a notepad or, with a pen or a virtual notepad handy so you can jot things down. You never want to just take the strategies. You want to ensure that you actually pen them down for afterthoughts. Okay, so our first speaker for today will be talking on how social media has transformed the way businesses approach branding. I used to recall, rather not recall because I wasn't born in those times, but from research, we know how branding used to be centuries ago. We had the time of when branding was just basically about logos, where branding for businesses was basically about logos. And now it goes beyond that in our era, in this century, in the 2000s. We're seeing branding, coinciding with marketing, coinciding with storytelling. It's just a whole lot. It's now a more wider vast. So I'll be having our first speaker for today, who will be Oyinkansola Adeboye, to tell us how has social media transformed the way businesses approach branding. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Happiness, for that question. I think it's very interesting how social media has evolved. I remember when I started my career, that time we would sit down and it would be a conversation of we're coming up with a content calendar. I started my career in an agency at the time, and the default agency setup was you have social media managers who do not necessarily understand the brand they're working for, do not necessarily understand the key elements that the brand is looking for. It was really just, we have to push out 5 contents in a week. So whether or not the 5 contents are very in tune with what the brand is trying to achieve, there's just a lot of, well, I've posted today, I've posted tomorrow. It was literally just more of ticking the boxes. And, that was when you would see graphic designers. It was like a lot of graphics, it was just like a clutter, right? However, through the years, consumer behavior has changed. The consumer now wants to see a lot more efforts. People no longer want to be seen as people no longer want to be seen as people that do not understand what they want to see. And with the advent of the new social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and all of those things, people are now more conscious of the content that they consume, which now makes it very important that even organizations are very in line with what they say they want to do as a brand. So if you say that XYZ is what you bring to the table as a brand, then down to your content. I think even with this entire thing, before it used to be social media management, now it's content marketing, because it's beyond just posting on social media. It's now content marketing, putting your brand out there. So I would say that the growth in social media has forced brands, even lazy brands. Sometimes FMCGs can be very guilty of that. They just want to sell. So they just put all sorts of things in the media space, like anyone you see. And it was just all about buy, 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 buy. But now, because social media has evolved, the consumer has evolved, people no longer have as much tolerance for bad content. You need to now sit down and properly be in tune with your brand. You need to now sit down and tell your brand story better. You need to understand your brand story better, so you cannot just pay one agency to do anything. You have to be very deliberate about what you put out there. So I would say that social media has really, really improved branding and brands, in recent time. Yeah.
Amazing, super fantastic. Thank you so much for that amazing one, Oyinkansola. And it's just so beautiful, having such a portfolio as being the head of branding and content marketing at Zcrest. I'm sure you pretty much have a whole lot of experience, and I've seen how, like you mentioned, some lazy businesses have actually, had to come up, to expectations based on the role of social media in promoting their businesses. I have a quick question, that intrigues me. So do you think that social media has sort of, should I say, leveled or equalized the playing field for all businesses? Back in the past century, we used to have where we had situations whereby top brands like Coca-Cola had all the advantage, based on, should I say, promoting capacity and all of those things. But now we see like small businesses, being able to, should I say, battle out for attention based on who has the best content strategy as well. So do you think social media has sort of become that equalizer for businesses, both in high capacity and average businesses and SMEs?
I would say yes, because I mean, like you said, back in the day, it was about who had the most money to spend. If I want to run a product marketing campaign, I get all the DSAs out there. I just go on Instagram, I do a graphic, and I spend so much money to run ads. That was usually the guarantee for the right reach. And it's from the right reach that you begin to now get customers who will convert into being active customers of your business. However, with social media now, if you're able to come up with good content, you're able to come up with viral content, the virality side of social media has really done a major in giving every business the opportunity to grow. And I would even say that it has calmed down a bit. And in about 2020, 2021, it was a lot easier for brands because at that time, I don't think even the platforms had realized what was going on, right? However, if you notice from 2022 towards the ending of 2022 upwards, the platforms started realizing the power of content marketing and virality. And then that was when you now saw that Instagram started putting algorithm changes. Oh, my content. There was a time that they made some algorithm changes that were very stiff, that no matter how good your content is, nobody is saying it. Then if you now come towards 2023 upwards, these platforms then realized that this content marketing is not going anywhere. Then what did they do? They started encouraging people to create more content. So the platforms themselves started putting more focus and reach on content. And that was when you now saw the advent of content creators, minor influencers and all nano influencers and all of those things. So, content marketing has sort of changed the dynamics, and even the platforms that were creating this content on have had to also switch their strategies to also adopt what the consumer is now buying. However, I would say that, as much as virality is good and all of that, in this age and time, because everybody is now a creative, everybody is now a creator, it takes an extra, yes, the playing ground is leveled, there's space for everybody, but because
Or
there's
it
so
takes
many
extra
creators,
thinking.
exactly, because there's so many creators now, you cannot just think that because there's social media, oh yes, I'm going to do one content and it's going to go viral. You have to go extra deep. You have to think. There are times that you spend so much time doing some content and you even find out that it does nothing. So, there's that, and there's also the money side of it. So, I mean, you cannot remove that side. When you run some campaigns, there's so much money you can spend to promote it everywhere, and sometimes you cannot promote it. So, yes, it's leveled the playing ground, but of course, it doesn't mean that there aren't still some little issues here and there in achieving your set goals as a brand or as a business. Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, what the points, on this question. Thank you so much, Oyukosala, for answering my questions. Well, I'll be coming back to you, so please just stay a bit. I'll be coming back to you with some more questions. Thank you so much for giving us your insights thus far. Okay, well, I'm pretty much excited about this topic, or should I say this theme in particular, because this is the era we're in. You know, one one tweet or one post could literally mar or break or make your branding, your marketing. I tell people branding is perception, marketing is action, but you need both of them to go hand in hand, because with people's perception of your brand, they can take actions for your brand. So we're in that era where one tweet, one content could break or make your brand. So my next question is actually going to Cynthia, because I'm quite particular that now that we are in the social media era, it's all about engagement. It's all about driving engagement. But truly, the end game for every business owner, the end game for every person who starts out, creating a business, starting a startup is actually, yes, they are born out of passion, but it's also to make sales. So as a revenue sales expert, a revenue growth expert with so many years in experience, so tell us, how can businesses effectively, the word effectively on emphasis, how can businesses effectively convert their social media engagement to sales? Because that's the end point, that's the end game. So tell us, how can businesses convert their social media engagement? Because we all know likes won't pay the bills. Likes won't pay the bills, but so how can businesses convert their social media engagement into sales? Thank you so much, Cynthia.
All right, thank you, Happiness. You're definitely correct. So I was in a group recently, and there was a battle between salespeople and marketing people, where they kind of like were saying that we need to start giving marketing people sales KPIs, like in terms of revenue, that they need to be responsible for revenue, because it looks like sometimes some of them, especially the ones that are coming from the FMCGs, they come and then they're just doing fancy content there. And at the end of the day, right, it's not pushing the numbers in terms of revenue for the business. So it's important to actually look at it. And I would say that the way to go about this is to monitor your numbers, right? Data doesn't lie, right? So as a startup, if you have a budget and you're spending money, you want to first of all start testing, right? Which of your platforms are even converting the most, right? So say for instance, you're putting out content across the different platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you're engaging on Twitter. There's something called UTC usually that you use in tracking, right? The journey, right, where this customer converted from now. So once you're tracking these numbers, you kind of test, right? There's also like doing A/B testing, where like you test what is performing more. And usually what I say is once you find that, you double down on it. So it's not the fact that everybody is on TikTok doesn't mean that your business has to be on TikTok. If you're getting more conversion, right, from your content on LinkedIn, for instance, then you want to focus 80%, right, on LinkedIn. And things change also, right? So whilst you're focused there, keep testing, because people might move again when the global world where things just quickly change, right? So you also, while you're focusing on what works for you today, you keep testing other things in bits, right? Just to see if there's another good mine platform that would unlock more revenue for you. So what I would say is the numbers don't lie. Whilst you're doing everything, following trends and doing all of that, keep looking at your numbers, look at which of these contents are converting, and then that's what you kind of like just double down on. And then you also want to kind of be real with your customers, right?
Okay.
Focus
I think we
more
have.
target. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you
Oh, okay.
clearly.
Focus more on customers who are already buying from you. So retarget ads, for instance. If somebody has bought from you before, they're more likely to buy from you again. So you also want to keep growing, like make those people keep seeing you on social media, right? So I think that's how you would really get revenue, right? From whatever you're doing on social media.
Amazing, super fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Cynthia, for sharing with us on that, because it's very important. I mean, I like money, so I don't know about other business owners there. It's very important that whatever effort we're putting in, it's a garbage in, garbage out. We're putting effort, putting money. It should be able to convert to sales, because that's really important. Well, talking about sales, talking about marketing, I think my next question would be for the amazing Yemi Adelana. Okay, so based on your wide portfolio and also your expertise, so tell us, I mean, to drive sales, you really have to be able to drive the right content. I mean, we're talking about sales here for customers, for clients, that are very important to the decision making for new startups to drive sales. You've got to spark something in them. You've got to make them convinced enough, persuaded enough to take action. So my next question is for Yemi. So Yemi, tell us, what are the best contents, or should I say, what kind of contents perform best on different social media platforms? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for the question. So, I mean, for me, first of all, it's important to understand the product that you're selling. And when you understand the product that you're selling, it's important to also understand who you're selling to, right? The kind of conversations you want to have with the Gen Zs or the alphas would entirely be different from the kind of conversations you're going to have with millennials or the baby boomers, right? So, I mean, that's also very important. Then also, it's important to understand platforms and how they work, right? Before now, LinkedIn, for example, I mean, is tagged as a platform for professionals, and it's usually maybe more like text-based and all. But recently, we've seen LinkedIn move to becoming more of a video in quotes kind of platform. That's where they're tilting towards. So you can actually see that every platform now is moving towards creating video content, right? For social media management, I mean, when you're trying to create content, you have like pillars that guides you. And I feel like if you don't have a pillar, I mean, you're already headed towards failure. What do I mean? I have a principle, and I think it's more like a marketing sales principle that it's always very important to educate your client, your customers rather, about whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's a product or it's a service. Always educate them. And the more you educate these people, when it's time for them to make a particular decision on the particular product or service, they remember who their teacher is and they come back to it, right? So for me, different platforms, right? And like the other speaker said, you need to understand that all the platforms will not work for you. You need to understand that. So you need to find out what particular platform works for your business, right? You don't have to do all these platforms. So if Instagram is working for you, stick to Instagram, create all the kind of content you need to create. If you're creating still images, you're creating user-generated content. The world is now moving towards employee-generated content. People want to see faces behind these businesses. They want to see faces behind this the company, right? So if you're moving, you need to keep creating that kind of content for the platform that suits your business. So for me, I'll just say that create educated content, and you have to sell because that's why you're in business. So there should be a point where you're creating sales-driven content. Your content should be compelling enough for people to want to take action to buy your product or your services. So just summarizing what I'm saying is, first of all, understand your product, understand the audience, what kind of communication speaks to them. What platforms do they rely on? So if I want to sell to major Gen Zs, right, I'm going to spend my time on TikTok because that's where they spend their time. If I want to sell to late millennials, right, I'm going to spend my time on Instagram, right? And if I want to sell something very serious to professionals, I know where I'm going to spend my time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So understand platforms, understand people, then you communicate right to them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Yemi. That was so insightful, so apt. Thank you so much for, buttressing your points on that question. I personally got a whole lot of insights from what Yemi just shared. Very, very important. content pillars, all of those things. Content is king, literally, but engagement is like the kingdom. So it's very, very important that, startups, new startups especially, understand this. But before, you're able to craft your content and all of these things, you need to have a winning social media marketing strategy. So my next question is going to Nabude Edwin Chukwemeka. And my question for you is, as a growth specialist, tell us, what are some of the most, in your years of experience and expertise, what are some of the most effective social media strategies that you have encountered or applied in your work or in your field? Thank you, Nabude.
Thank you so much, Happiness. I'm sure I'm going to reach out to you after now for our next webinar at Coronation. You do this so well. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Strategies for social media, I just want to mention that you really can't differentiate social media from digital marketing. Digital marketing is a broader form of marketing. Social media is just one part of digital marketing. So social media, social apps, but digital marketing is where you pull in your search, where you pull in your website, analytics, UI, where you pull in your email marketing and the rest. So when we think about social media marketing, we really cannot do away with all of these things, because at the end of the day, you don't want people to just chat you up on social media. You also want them to maybe visit your website, right? Read about it and all of that. When it comes to strategies for social media, and this has profoundly changed the brand where I work in currently and many other brands that I've consulted for. We have a journey when it comes to marketing, and many of the speakers this morning have alluded to that fact. We have a journey that starts from awareness, consideration, and then engagement, and then purchase, and then advocacy or repeat purchase. A brand that understands this funnel will be a very strategic brand. So you need to understand, and it's a problem for many startups because they want quick sales. They want buy now. I want people to buy now and all of that. But you need to understand, just like Olinko herself, that and it worked for a lot of big brands before social media. People need to know about you before they will even consider buying from you. And in their age of social media, beyond just knowing about you, that's awareness. They would now consider you. That's where you talk about search, testimonial content and the rest, and okay, I'm considering this brand. The next thing is engagement. They will engage your brand. If you don't have clear call to actions, if your website is not optimized and all of that, you lose them at that point. After engaging your brand, so how do your customer service respond to them and things like that? They will then buy, right? After buying is loyalty. So would they want to buy again? Would they want to tell their friends about you? Now, for each of these this customer journey, there are strategies there, and I've listed some of them. It's very important that brands think critically about each of these journeys and the marketing activities that are tied to each of these journeys. That's really what makes one brand different from another. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for that insightful answer. So apt, so on point. It is very, very important that if you are a business owner joined into this webinar streaming right now, it's very important that you take these key points. These are the A-listers in industry. So every single word they say is a banger. So you've got to ensure that you're taking notes of the points. Thank you so much, Nabude, for that awesome one. Well, you spoke about positioning, using social media to position and more. Well, my next question is going to be for the founder of Savvy Media. Fantastic. And I'm particular about this question because it centers on digital PR. And we know how important setting the pace for digital PR is, especially for new techs, for new startups, rather. They don't have to be tech startups. Some organizations wait until they are in business. Some organizations wait until say, oh, I'll wait, let me build business, before I really hammer on digital PR. But I think it's pretty important that you have digital PR in mind whilst as you're laying your business plan. It's very important that you have digital PR in mind. So my question goes to the founder of Savvy Media Africa, the amazing Tofumi Akinsheye. Let me see, just to ensure that I have him on here. Okay, so do we have Tofumi here right now? Please say hello if you're here presently. Do we have Tofumi here? Okay, so we just move straight ahead. Okay, so Mr. Inabude Edwin Chukwemeka, my next question would still come back to you again. So what common mistakes should businesses avoid in social media marketing? For new startups, it is very important. I tell people, as a business owner, you don't have to learn your mistakes from experience. You can learn your mistakes from learning from others before making the mistakes, so you do not make the mistakes. Through webinars like this, through mentorship, through just learning from other people's stories. So please share with us, what are some of the common mistakes that new startups should avoid, when launching their startup businesses?
Thank you so much, Happiness. I think the first would be not understanding your customer journey. So, and being in a, because it just frustrates your business and frustrates the agencies that you work with. And I see this across board for a lot of startups. You need to understand that a customer must first be aware of your brand. And in fact, the bulk of the money that you spend in marketing actually will be about reputation and brand awareness, right? That's where you spend the bulk of your money, just for people to know about you. And depending on your brand, there are a lot of activities there. So you run campaigns, that's where you have your daily or weekly posts, just to be in people's faces, your billboards, your maybe shirts, flyers, depending on the brand. And then you move on to consideration. So fine. When people know about me, how do I ensure that they really, really want to do business with me, right? So things like testimonial would come in. Things like user-generated content will come in. Just things to ensure that they consider your brand, reviews on the apps, things like that, feedbacks and the rest. And then when they've considered doing business with you, the next will be, okay, they've engaged me. At the point where anybody chooses to chat me up or anybody, goes to my website, what do they see? As a brand, what do they see? Customer service, what are they saying to them, right? If they drop comments, who responds to them and things like that. And then purchase, the point, is it easy for them to buy? Do I have, my credit card integrated to my website, or my social media, how easy is it for people to pay for things? How fast is delivery and things like that? Just things to ensure that it's easy for people to buy from you. And then we have repeat purchase or loyalty. That's really critical because you then need to run campaigns, referral campaigns. So things that will make customers want to share, your product with their family and friends. So for me, that's one of the biggest mistakes that brands make. But there are several others, we have brands that will have very poor designs. The fact that you're a startup, for God's sake, does not mean that you will not invest you will not invest
Very true.
in cameras, visuals, and things like that. You know, it was
Mhm.
Yemi that mentioned that LinkedIn used to be text-based, but now it's fast going into video. And we see this in the rise of 5G. You know, videos used to take a lot of time. And so we can, you know, we see these platforms adapting to things like video. So brands that would not invest in, you know, videographers would be missing out. Another thing I want to mention is the world is fast going into metaverse, web 3.0 and things like that. And what that simply is voice-based marketing. My colleagues would always, when I'm my phone, I was thinking this week, call this in, or he'll say we launch this app. And then I don't know if you can hear me. My phone seems.
Yes, I can hear you clearly, but we're having a bit of a break in your in transmission. But I think I can hear you.
Okay, is it better?
Yes, I think it's better.
And things I think those are some of the most important mistakes that brands make. But what do we start doing business? And this is, I mean, let me.
Okay, well, we'll have Enabode Chukwemeka Edwin come back on to finish up all the wonderful insights that he was sharing with us on that question. So, well, I do. Okay, I think he's back. Nabode, can you hear me now? I think we have him back. Please say hello if you are back. Yes,
hello.
Yes, thank you. Please continue.
Apologies. Let me just find up. What's the standpoint? There's this fantastic book by Simon Sinek called Understanding Your Why. My symptoms, my
to wait to make a mistake. You have to, one of the biggest powers that I think entrepreneurs have is forward thinking. You've got to be forward thinking. You've got to think of, okay, what if this happens to my business? How would I handle it? You know, it's so okay. I think I'm back on. So can we please confirm if we have, let me just see if we have our last speaker here. If not, we just continue. Well, Cynthia, I actually have. Now, what is an okay. Hello, I just need to ensure everybody can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, okay. So Cynthia, I was saying that, for businesses that have made these common mistakes, not considering their branding from inception of their startups, or, some of these common mistakes that Nabude Edwin spoke about. What is your suggestion to them, or what is your insight to them, or strategy to them, for them to navigate or come out of these mistakes they have already made? Of course, we know some of these mistakes cost them money, cost them sales that they are supposed to hit. So, as a revenue growth specialist and expert, what is your advice to businesses that have already made these common mistakes?
All right, thank you, Happiness. So I would say, just like human beings, right, businesses are allowed to make mistakes, right? And once you make this mistake, it's one, realizing that you've made a mistake. I think there's still a lot of them who haven't. But once you identify or realize that you've made a mistake, I think it's then to sit back and come up with a strategy, right? You're known for something, you want to change that narrative. So you have to then create a branding strategy, right, that would help you correct the mistakes that you're known for. So it will start off with, first of all, kind of understanding what is the message you want to pass across to your audience now. What do you want to be known for? And you have to determine that, what are your values, what's the goal for this new look or this new personality that you want to give to your brand, right? It would take some time. I think answering those questions well would help in correcting the mistakes. Sitting back and not just being in a hurry to make changes. So sitting back and starting afresh, kind of like asking yourselves the right question. So once you have like the values and the new narrative that you want to push out, right, you again start testing it right out there. Start putting content with that tone on voice. Trust me, with the kind of world that we are in now, there might be a bit of noise here and there, but focus on what you set out to do now, right? Which is, this is what I want to be known for. This is where we made the mistakes, and these are the things we want to correct, and just consistently start working towards it. A lot of people, you'd have comments in certain places, oh, that would kind of like with trials and all of that, right? Oh, it looks like MTN is now doing this. Yeah, don't worry, they will talk, but like, just focus on this new narrative, and before you realize, people will start identifying with what you call yourself. But yes, you need to take a step backward and kind of like ask yourself the right question. So what do you want to do now? What was the mistake? What did you learn from it? And what do you now want to do? And then just go about doing it. I think we have also realized that people do not forget, but they also move on to other things very quickly. So if
Very
you start
true.
your new stuff, right, with time, and you're authentic, right? With time, they would start seeing you for who you now are and no longer like what you are, and then you can start converting people. But yeah, and then what it means is, with this new you have to start adopting a lot of testimonials, right? Have people who are using you speak more, so that it then helps your prospects or your customers build more trust with your brand. So yeah, I would say take a step backward. What were the mistakes? Analyze them, decide, and then once you have decided, go about it consistently. It might take some time, but eventually you'll start getting the results.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Cynthia Folabi, for that insightful one. Fantastic. I mean, I worked with a client who had a major PR, negative PR challenge with her business. She lost her business, a whole lot just happened. And we had to go back to the drawing board. We had to go back because brand perception was at risk, a whole lot, sentiment ratio was at risk. We had to go back to the drawing board. So it's never a crime to go back to the drawing board as a new startup business owner. It's failure is, some people say failure is not an option, but sometimes it is an option. you get to refine it to fit the next level you want to take your business to. And now that client of mine, after we went back to the drawing board, redefined the brand and, gave the brand a different branding consistency. Now she's making sales. Now she's in jail for going back to your vision board. It's very important that it's really very, very key that Okay, so my next question is for the amazing Onyekosala Adeboye. Well, you have a very strong portfolio as head of branding and content marketing at Zcrest Group. So tell me in a quick moment, my question for you is, what are the key elements of a strong and consistent brand identity on social media? Because I think over time, in the earlier stages of my career, one of the things I saw business owners struggle with was keeping that branding consistent. Sometimes, they'll tell you, okay, this is what I want my brand to be like. And one time they want to change their mind that, okay, I think my brand is taking the leap. And yeah, brands can actually transition from one brand identity to another, but still there has to be an iota of consistency. So share with me, based on your experience and expertise, what are the key elements
Okay, I think I'll just go ahead
to ensure brand identity and brand consistency? Kosala, are you here?
Yes.
Okay. So please carry on.
Yeah, your network started stopped for a moment. I was trying to pick up when to speak.
Okay.
I would say it's understanding what you want to be. So a lot of times when conversations about the mission and vision of a company comes up, a lot of times people take it for granted. A lot of times people look at it as just some jargon, you're just speaking so much English and, all of those things. In fact, I don't think people realize how important your mission statement is to your entire branding as an organization. At the Zcrest Group, it's something we've taken so seriously that even in our meetings, before you start a meeting, you must recite the mission of the company, the vision of the company, to remind yourself of what you're trying to achieve. And I said that because that mission statement, and I mean, for a startup, you may not necessarily think that you need one, but you do. Because that mission statement highlights everything that you want to achieve as a business. That 2-liner or 3-liner, in a nutshell, summarizes everything that you want to achieve. The moment you say that I want to be Africa's topmost financial services firm, for example, you already know that it already tells you that if you want to be seen as a financial services firm, then you need to be seen as professional. The moment you need to be seen.
Hello, Esther. Please kindly mute your mic if you come in, so you do not disrupt our speakers as they come in. Please, Esther, kindly mute your mic, or can we have?
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'll do that now. So sorry, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Please.
Yeah.
I didn't use anymore.
All right, thank you, Esther. Yeah, so as I was saying, my train of thoughts. Okay, so the moment you say you want to be a financial services firm, for example, let's use that as an example. You know that you need to be professional, because if people are going to invest their monies, or if people are going to trust you with their monies for transaction or anything, you need to put a certain level of professionalism. Now, if you know professionalism is important to you, then when you go to the psychology of colors, for example, you're trying to create your logo, you're trying to create your brand identity, you're trying to create your look and feel, you know that you need to go for professional looking colors. right? That's the foundation of it. You know that you need to go for professional looking fonts. You know that you need to go for a professional looking logo, right? You know that your tone of voice has to sound professional. You know that because I'm financial services, I'm working with people's monies, I need to ensure that every content that I put out there is relatable because I want people to feel like they're comfortable. I want people to trust me. So I need to ensure that I'm putting the faces of my staff out there so people can know that they can trust us. There are people behind this brand. You know, everything comes to life the moment you outline that goal that you want to achieve as a business. So one thing I always say to my team members and even to people that, would reach out to me to say they need help with some branding is, what is your goal? What is your mission? The moment you're able to sit down and craft that thing that you want to be, it sort of just lays out the foundation for everything else. Because if you know that you want to be known as the #1 fashion house in Nigeria, then everything you need to do to ensure that you're the #1 fashion brand in Nigeria will come to you. It would, you have your goal. All you need to do now is to just say, okay, I want to be this person. This is what my brand identity has to look like. This is what my content plan has to look like. This is what and even if in the future you make tweaks, I mean, from time to time you will tweak your branding, what you decided to do today, because you also listen to consumers, you need to ensure that from time to time you're tweaking your branding to be in line with what the consumer wants, right? So no matter the tweaks that you make, no matter the changes that you make, there's always one underlying factor. There's always that foundation of, I want to be #1 fashion brand of financial services. And, it just sort of guides everything else. So I would say that is the most important thing, understanding what you want to be, having that down, and every other thing just sort of falls in place eventually. I mean, if you're going to say generally textbook definition, you say, oh, your logo, your brand color, your content strategy, all of those things are the typical factors. But all of those factors are largely dependent on that mission, vision, that goal that you set out to achieve as a business. Yeah, that would be my submission for that. Hi, Happiness, are you there?
Okay.
Hello, Happiness.
Yes, please.
Okay, did you call me?
I'm sorry for that interruption. I think I'm back on now. Oyukasala, thank you so much for that amazing one. Thank you for sharing your insights on that question. It was remarkably answered. Thank you for taking your time to really delve, dissect, and share with us your thoughts on that question. Really in this social media era, the brands that truly make it to that top are actually the brands that stay top of mind, because pardon me please, one of the things that you notice is a very strict competition, for attention, so the brands that stay top of mind stay top of the game. So my next question is for Edwin Nabude Chukwemeka. I hope you're still out here with us. Now, how can brands stay top of mind? We're talking about branding, we're talking about storytelling, we're talking about social media marketing in this era. How can brands stay top of mind? It's such a competitive space. I mean, attention span for viewers right now has really gone down. So how can they stay top of mind, especially utilizing storytelling? Please share with us quickly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Happiness. So when it comes to staying top of mind, I would tie it back to what Inkosola said. I think is understanding who you are as a brand. That's where it starts from. A lot of brands don't know why they're in business. I mean, they just wake up tomorrow and they're copying another brand, right? And customers are now confused. Before I dropped off, I was going to give an example. Now, I'm not a car enthusiast, but I think the company that owns Toyota also owns Lexus. Now, the question is, I mean, why would a particular business or management choose to separate two different brands? But that's because both brands speaks to different audience and have different missions. So whilst Toyota is more middle class, Lexus is more, for example, high class. I'm not sure if it's the exact brand, but I know that Toyota has a sub brand for high network individuals and just offer luxury. So it just, I mean, that brand can choose to say, you know what, I think we should just go purely into luxury, but they did not. Instead, what they did was create a sub brand. That's because they understand that, see, we can't afford to confuse our customers. We've said that this is who we are. We offer quality cars at affordable rates, right? You can't now wake up tomorrow and say, oh, we are now transitioning to luxury. It's possible. A lot of brands have done that. I mean, but is more difficult, right? It ties back to saying this is who we are and this is what we stand for. Understanding your vision and mission is so critical. There's a book by Simon Sinek. I recommend it for anybody. The name of the book is Understanding Why. And understanding, I think there's a second one, Understanding What. And it speaks to understanding your vision and mission beyond just business organization, even as individuals. Many people have asked the question, why am I on earth? Why am I alive? And many people have committed suicide because they didn't understand why they're on earth. Why was I created and things like that. That's to show how important it is beyond just businesses and organizations, even at an individual level. I'll share a personal example. I mean, sometime in 2020, I was really depressed because I wanted more out of life and I was not getting it. And what helped me through that season was understanding my why. Why am I in business? Why do I like business? What's the goal of all of this? Waking up and working 8 to 5, and just understanding what I wanted to do out of life, understanding my vision and then mission, how I wanted to achieve it, made life more meaningful and made life more magical, actually, and brought in more opportunities. So previously, blogs, articles, or opportunities that probably would just pass over, articles that probably would not have read. I find myself doing the hard work of reading it and taking those opportunities because I understand my why. I know what I want to do in my life and impact to the business. So to answer your question, I think fundamentally is business not understanding their why. I would say another thing is partnerships with advertising or media agencies. The truth is, as a startup, you can't afford to not be humble. There's that
True.
friend.
Very true.
There's that friend that if you listen to him or her rant for just 30 minutes about their family, the person will give you tangible advice. So advice that, consultations that probably will cost thousands of naira. They will give you those advices for your small business for free. And so for a small media agency, and I tell this to a lot of startups, you can't, run your meta ads, run your advertisements as you like. The platforms have designed it so that you are able to do it. But please don't do it independent of a friend in the media agency. You may not be able to afford media agencies. The agency fee is around 10 to 15% of budget currently. You may not be able to afford that. Fine, make friends in the agency. One of the most important things for me in life is knowledge, and it's critical. If you're a startup, you need to make friends in the media space, just people that can guide you and put you through your marketing campaigns, for free.
Very key, very key. This our networks, or should I call them our immediate sphere of contact, are actually more like diamonds in the rough. So I think that we need to leverage the power of our circle, for insights, just like you said, consultations that you may likely pay millions for. You're just getting it for free from a family, a colleague, in the media agency. Very, very, very apt, very important. So I so wished we had Tofumi on here, because I had a particular question on digital PR that I really wanted to touch on. But quick one, my next question is for all our speakers for today. I really want to say a very special thank you to all our speakers thus far for buttressing the points, sharing with us their insights, their strategies, experiences. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. So my next question is for all our speakers, from Nabude to Cynthia Afolabi to Onyikosola, Ayobode to Yemi Adelana. Do we still have Yemi Adelana with us? Yemi, please say hello if you're still here with us right now. Okay.
Is Adeyemi Lana or Yemi Lana, not Adelana?
Okay. Please do pardon me on that note. Yeah. So I do have a question for you before we move on to the general question. So my question for you is, we have seen how powerful storytelling is in this time. We have seen how powerful storytelling is in this time. So my question to you is, how can businesses, harness the power of storytelling, to further push their business goals? It's very important. Literally now, it's not just contents that sell, it is the stories that are able to mark the customer journey that sell. Stories that are able to mark the customer's journey from interest to desire to finally taking actions leading to a purchase or a sale. So tell us, how can businesses harness the power of storytelling to further push their business goals as new startups?
Yeah, so I mean, we've all seen how content has evolved, right? In those days, like you said, content was just more of graphics, and all. Then it evolved to creating video content, and evolved to human elements in your content, and it just keeps evolving. Today you just see that with just one hook you're getting 2 million views on social media. Or when it comes to storytelling, I mean, it's just that thing that makes people stay on your page. It's just that thing that makes people want to look forward to the content you create. And most times I kind of give this example. There's this campaign that was recently done by Ryder, I think, if I'm correct, where a particular influencer had to create very interesting content about our village people in a Rolls Royce. For me, if there's going to be an award for one of the best content in 2025, I think that should be like one of the best. First of all, it was relatable.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Everybody could connect with the fact that you have village people that do not want you to make progress in life. This, yeah. When I look at that particular, I wish it was a bigger influencer that that particular content would have probably gotten a bigger buzz than it did. But did it create the awareness for the brand? Yes. Did it create buzz? Did it go viral? Did we get to see it? Did we get to know it? Yes, we all did. Just shows you how storytelling is big, and that brings down to brands and there must be a say or marketing. Just think about story. Just make sure that the story is just compelling enough, for people to listen, people connect, to the brand. Because if there's no story, then what exactly are you selling? What is the motivation behind the particular product, service? What exactly is the story behind the solution you brought into the market? There's always a story. Sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's someone experience, sometimes you just come across it somehow. So there's always a story behind, creating a product. There must always be a story, and you should be able to tell that story to the world, because the more you tell the story, the more people connect to it. People see reasons why they should buy into your product. People see sense, and because communication is key when it comes to everything that we do. Do you understand? So telling the story, brings people to you, connects people to you, creates a form of awareness for you, makes people also buy your product. So, I mean, you cannot compromise on it. In short, in today's world, storytelling is everything. You see how, like you asked earlier, one of your first questions, right? You see how social media has created a leveling ground for everybody. Whether you're big, whether you're a medium company,
A battlefield.
a leveling ground. But you see how small businesses are taking over. Yes, you know how small businesses with storytelling are beginning to take over the market. They might not have the big budget like a Coca-Cola or the big brands, but with the little storytelling, and you see brands like Huda, you see brands like Flutterwave, they tell this, even Money Points, they tell the story that the Nigerian or African person connect with in terms of payments, in terms of saving money, in terms, you just, and the more you tell the story, trust me, the more you just have this audience, the more your business grows, stuff. Thank you.
Fantastic. Woo! It has really been an awesome time. I mean, it's really been an exciting time. And I have particularly, learned a lot from each and every one of our speakers for today. I believe the Millennial Hangout did an awesome job, picking out our speakers for today. So apt, so on point. So I have one general question for all our speakers, and I'd like them to take turns, from Onyeka Salar to Nabude, to Yemi, to Cynthia. So my question to you all is, now looking ahead, I've spoken about the trends, we've highlighted the trends we're seeing. Now, social media is consistently evolving. So my question to you is, what trends do you predict will shape social media marketing in the next 5 years? So right now, I want you to put on your hat of a prophet and see into the future. So I like to start with my first prophet, that would be Onyeka Salar. So Onyeka Salar, please, let's have you. So what do you predict to be the future of social media marketing in 5 years down the line?
So I'm supposed to be the first prophet.
I like that. You're already putting the hat of a prophetess on. Very key.
I'll try not to be a prophet. Okay, so I see artificial intelligence. Yeah, AI is really doing a number. A lot of these platforms, even at the surface level, you see Meta doing, it started with ChatGPT, and then Meta brought it to social media platforms. So on your WhatsApp now, on Instagram, you see a lot of, you can easily ask Meta to do a couple of things. Even in the actual content creation, even there's InShot, CapCut, and Co. Even the tools that you use in creating certain content, they've started implementing a lot of AI into things that they do. So I see artificial intelligence. Now, to what extent, I may not necessarily be able to say, because I think AI has slowed down a little more than we expected. I think AI has slowed down a little more. I know when it started, when, the focus started 2-3 years ago.
It was really a boom.
Exactly. And, I don't think the metaverse has picked up as fast as we thought it was going to, but it's definitely coming. People are using it already, but, maybe there's still some option. Or maybe it's in this part of the world, but it's getting there. And what we just need to ensure is that when it gets there, we're not left behind, because we've not started adopting some of these things. So I would say artificial intelligence I would also say shorter form content. Day after day, the attention span of the typical person on social media is getting shorter.
So are you trying to tell me that we will not start seeing reels of like 5 seconds? Because that's
At this point, because at some point it used to be the first 3 seconds of your video. I know when so part of my training was the first 3 to 5. Sorry, Happiness, are you saying something? Yeah, okay, I think I'll just round up. During my training, it used to be, the first 3 to 5 seconds of your video has to be very catchy. These days, it's mostly like the first 3. Like if you see a content, you want to know what they're saying in the first 3 seconds. If it doesn't make sense, you just want to swipe. So, yeah, I don't know. It may get to maybe the next first 1 second at this point, because the attention, there's so much content. Like there's a content overload. So everybody is seeing a lot of things, right? People don't have the patience anymore to wait for you to be speaking English, right? So I think shorter form content and artificial intelligence, 2 trends that I think are going to get very serious in the next couple of years. Yeah, that's it.
okay. Thank you so much, Oyinkansola. That was amazing. Okay, so I'll move straight on to our next speaker. Thank you so much for that vision. That's, revelation, I like to call it. Okay,
Yeah,
so next up, do we have... Okay, so do we have the next speaker? Let's have the next speaker, Inabude Edwin. Please tell us what's your prediction of the social media marketing sphere and landscape in the next 5 years.
Thank you so much, Happiness. I was looking for a cap to wear at home, but I did not find. So let me just imagine wearing one.
It's fine. We know you have one on. Exactly.
So I think that there are 5 things that small business needs to, in fact, everyone needs to focus on. And the reason why this question for me is important is it helps us now start to pay attention to maybe workshops, webinars, trainings, and even articles around these themes, right? Just like Oyinkan has said, this currently they sound high up there, but I believe very strongly that this is what will differentiate one brand from another, right? Your ability to understand and use these things will be critical. The first is AI-powered marketing. So on your website, chatbots and things like that, on your social media handles, you may not need to employ, customer service, officers. You may just have a manager managing these robots that help you respond to all your customers for you. The next that I think will be pivotal is augmented reality and virtual reality. We call it AR and VR. So AR, augmented reality, is this thing where customers can use their phones to see what your product looks like. And this brand does it so brilliantly. I think this is the only brand that does it. Taelo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but they do this. The furniture brand. In fact, I know they've won several awards. They do this so brilliantly. So you can point your phone to your living room and it will show you what the furniture, either a cupboard, a table, or even a mattress would look like, right? In that space. That's augmented reality. Virtual reality has more to do with this screen that we wear. It is mostly used for games, but there's a very high chance that brands would figure out how to use virtual realities. Please confirm that you can hear me. Okay. The next thing is voice marketing, and I'd mentioned this earlier. I hardly touch my iPhones because my AirPods are usually plugged in. I just ask Siri to do a lot of things for me, and my colleagues will always
I can hear you. It's just a glitch in network connectivity.
Okay, so let me wrap up. I'm on the third point, voice marketing. I think that the way brands can use voice marketing is to be on podcasts, because search will now become so intelligent that they can search podcasts and search sound. And if your brand is already on podcasts and things like that, providing information, you stand out. The next thing I think will pivotal is blockchain and blockchain marketing. So
Sure.
the brand, you now need to start attending workshops, trainings, reading a lot of articles around blockchain. So how do we buy and sell with blockchain, Bitcoin and the rest? What is it? A lot of us don't know what it is. I don't have an account. I've never used it, right? But we need to invest in knowledge. The last thing I want to point out is metaverse and web 3. Metaverse is that is like our physical world but virtual. So the same way you can go to a shop, to go and buy something, is the same way metaverse would be. It would be, and go to a school, physical school, is the same way metaverse would be. So these things, just like Oyinka has said again, they still sound high up there, but your ability to recognize that AI is coming, augmented reality and virtual reality is coming, voice marketing is coming, blockchain is coming, metaverse and Web 3.0 is coming. We help you invest in knowledge and invest in reading ahead of time, so that when it finally comes, your brand is way up there. Thank you.
Very important. So, in other words, social media is here to stay, but is of course evolving in different ways and different visits. Thank you so much, Nabode. So, same question for Yemi, Lana.
Okay, all right. So, so that I don't have to repeat everything that they have said, it's valid from the AI, to augmented reality and virtual realities and stuff. There was something the first speaker said, and which is very key. The attention span keeps reducing. In short, I think as of today, it's 3 seconds. If whatever you're communicating is not seconds.
That's interesting.
And for us in marketing, it just becomes a bit more difficult as time goes on, right? So we'll find a way around it, right? Then secondly, for me, would be the fact that there's been a shift from macro influencers to micro influencers, and we'll see a lot of that happen. After COVID, we saw the boom of the influencing industry rather, and but now brands are beginning to see that they have the numbers, but when it comes to letting it get down to our pockets, we're not getting it. So, but you just see this person with 50,000 followers, the person makes a post for you, boom. So there's going to be a shift, and influencer 2.0, that's what it's going to be. A lot of young influencers, guys that have this community, guys that have this little community, you see them evolve, right? Then there's this thing that this guy has been really shouting about. What's his name? Gary V. And it's called the social commerce market. So it's going to evolve. You'll see where brands, e-commerce platform will start, or platforms will create a platform for e-commerce to thrive with social media. And it's already happening in some part of the world. I don't know if that's happening here already. So if you're selling a product, mostly for product-based services, when you're selling a product, you can sell with TikTok, you can sell on Instagram, you can have that market. So there's going to be that infusion into it. So for me, so that I don't repeat what the other guys have said, but these are like two things that would stand up. But storytelling would not stop. Trust me, you would see it evolve into something different. And I'll end by saying that if you do not evolve, you will die. Right? If you do not evolve, you will die. So for anybody that's running a business or has a brand and whatever it is, you need to evolve.
Like even into 3 seconds.
Yes, you need to evolve, and you need to move as the time moves. Otherwise, you'll be left. But I tell my guys in the office, I tell them that the idea that you have today dies today, because by tomorrow the world has moved. So you have to keep moving with the world. Do you guys understand? So that's basically what it is for me.
Okay. Thank you so much. I guess that's a wrap for Yemi. Thank you so much for sharing your predictions. Very true, especially the very insightful one you shared about going from macro to micro influencers. Because I'm sure our revenue growth specialist would likely agree with that prediction, because sales conversion really is not about just the numbers in follow followership. It's about who has a very loyal that has been followed. Very key. Okay, so what are your predictions for the social for the next 5 years?
All right. So now that I went to get the cap, I was thinking it'll help me, but I guess like you all got the predictions.
No. I know this is the Millennial Hangout, but no cap. We're taking this no cap.
Nice cap,
So
very nice.
I love your cap. It's
Thank
perfect.
you. Yeah, so
Assuming you came in with a chieftaincy title cap, I would have called you Odogu Parana.
So yeah, I think
know.
just
Okay.
not to like repeat what everyone has said. I would say that one is just like Yemi said, we would start seeing like a lot of like commerce businesses start pushing like their products. So for instance, I think that would even for SMEs, right, you'll start seeing a lot happening in private social platforms like WhatsApp, right? You start seeing a lot of people using WhatsApp and like kind of like more than they would use like the more famous social media platforms. Something I also think would happen in the next 5 years is we would start seeing that not only about the product, right, or the company's brand, but also the people behind the brand. It has started already where we're seeing like business owners, especially in the tech space, co-founders turning into content creators, right? I think we would see a lot more, right, of that where employees, business owners would have to come out because the expectation is the people who are buying from this brand would become a lot more smarter. So you would have to come out, right, and do a lot more to gain their trust. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen in the next 5 years. Almost everybody, and just like Yemi said, from my macro to micro, but even minus the micro, it would then be me and you kind of like creating contents for what our business is known for. So we'll see a lot of introverts stepping away from that and kind of like get into content creation, social marketing platforms. Yeah. Happiness, you're on mute.
Yes. A tank of thanks would not be enough to thank all of our speakers for today. I want to especially appreciate from our first speaker, Onyeka Salar. Thank you so much for joining us today. To Anabode, Edwin Chukwemeka, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insights as well. Today, to our next speaker, Cynthia Afolabi, thank you for joining us, sharing your strategies, your insights, and also to the amazing founder, Yemi Lana. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insights. It means a whole lot. So, but I have a strict rule though, yeah. So even though it's a webinar, no speaker goes without playing my game. So I always have a game. So right now, so the speakers we have presently here, so I have a very quick, game for you to play. So all I need you to do is to, of course, you're going to tell me two lies and one truth. Or about yourself, about your expertise or your field. And then I'm going to guess which one is a lie, or rather, which one is the truth amongst all of them. So who's going to be going first? I think the person on the cap already, that's you know, no cap, but I mean this. So I think Cynthia Folabi will be kicking off first. So 2 lies, 1 truth.
And it
And I'm
has
going
to
to
be
have to
career
guess
focused.
which one it
It has to
is.
be career focused, did you say?
It has to be what?
Career focused. Is that what you
Say
said?
that again.
It has to be
Oh,
career focused.
it could be just about you. It could be about you.
Okay. All right.
It could be career focus, and it could be just about you.
Okay. I'm not a good liar. Okay, let me try. I have 3 sisters. I have 2 masters. I have been in tech for close to 10 years.
So I'm supposed to guess the truth. Okay, so the truth is you have been in tech for close to 10 years. I think so.
I've been in tech for over 10 years.
Do I get to call a friend? Do I get to call a colleague or call
No, sorry.
somebody, another woman in tech?
So you guessed wrongly. I think the correct one is I have 2 masters.
So did I get it right?
No, you didn't.
You have
Close
fantastic.
to over. I'm over 10 years.
I was almost there. If you had just given me your card. Over 10 years. Oh, that's fantastic. Fantabulous. Probably if I had a cap on matching yours, I'm sure I'd have gotten it right too. It wasn't flowing. Okay, so thank you so much, Cynthia. I'll move on to our next speaker. So I'd like to have Nabude Edwin Chukwemeka next. So you're going to tell me 2 lies, 1 truth about yourself, and I'm going to have to guess the truth. Nothing but the truth. So Nabude, are you here?
I am. Like Cynthia, I'm not sure I'm a good liar, but let me try. Okay.
Please ensure that you take it easy on me because, so that people don't think, you're liars. Don't give me too many lies. Very important.
All right.
Okay.
The first one is I have 5 siblings. The second one is 80% of my diet is protein-based. The third one is Oyin Kosola was a former colleague. So which one is the lie?
What did you do? Oyin Kosola was a former colleague. I need a bit of mathematics for this. I need to solve the probability. So what's the probability that Oyin Kosola was a former colleague? Oyin Kosola has been at Zcrest. She has, from the info I have, is that long enough to and it's just 1 truth amongst them.
Yes.
Let me see. You didn't make this easy on me. And you're not wearing a cap. You didn't make this easy on me. Okay, let me see. From your personality, I don't think you have 5 siblings. I think the truth would be that let's go for number 2.
So the truth is actually
smile, that laughter.
Oyin Kosola was the former colleague, actually.
Impossible.
I was hoping you were gonna get that.
Millennial Hangouts. I am suing you guys for this. You brought 2 ex-colleagues to 1 conference. Oh my God. Well, I was going to actually say that, but I was just like, what's the likelihood? What's the probability? Well, thank you so much, Nabude. Next time I'll guess that correct because now I already know. Okay, so up next is Oyin Kosola. Oyin Kosola, I hope I get this right. Take it easy on me, please.
I promise I'm not
So
ready.
2 lies, 1 truth.
I'm not ready. I'm still trying to craft it. Just go to Yemi.
Okay.
Yemi.
Okay, Yemi. Please, 2 lies, 1 truth. If you're trying to craft it, it means you want to craft Oh, she's coming all out for me. Bazooka and all. Interesting. So Yemi, please, 2 lies, 1 truth.
So I used to think I was a great liar until you brought up this game. It's just so difficult. Okay. First of all, I followed everybody on this. I just followed everybody. So please just do well to follow back on Instagram.
Sure, please.
Okay. I'm the last one. I have 2 kids and I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, I didn't get it. The first one, you have 2 kids.
I'm the last born of my
Okay, the
parents.
first option is you are the last born.
Yes, I have 2 kids.
You have 2 kids.
Then I said I'm a lawyer.
Okay. And I'm supposed to guess the truth amongst these ones.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Research, but I'm not pretty sure if you're a practicing lawyer.
I think mine is a business.
What's the likelihood that you are the last one? If I don't get this correct, this is not a good branding. Okay, so Yemi, you're going to have to help me get this correct. Can you give me a clue? Give me a clue.
Once I do that, you get it.
Okay. Okay, so I think I'll go with you are a lawyer. You are a lawyer is the truth. You are a lawyer is the truth. Why? Because you said you're a bad liar. So if you're a bad liar, for you to think of I'm a lawyer is so far-fetched. So I'll go with you're a legal practitioner, yeah, a lawyer. I failed it. The line is breaking up, but did I get it correct? Okay, please just drop it in the comments. Just kindly drop it in the comments, please, if the answer was correct, because I'm trying to make out your words now. I can't. Oh, I won it. Okay, okay. I can hardly make out your words. Please just drop it in the comments if I'm correct or incorrect. Okay, so I'll find.
You did.
You said
yes,
what?
You did.
Oh, yes, I did. Oh, you see,
I'm practicing.
You see, he went easy on me, and I think I got this one correct. Okay, so I think that's all we have. No, we have one more. Onyekosala, you cannot escape this. Please, let me see what you've crafted. 2 lies, 1 truth.
I'll try
Our time
my
is almost up.
Okay. So my favorite color is pink. I'm a very good dancer, and I'm not a fan of being outside.
You what?
My favorite color is pink. My favorite color is pink. I'm a very good dancer, and I'm not a fan of being outside. I don't like being outside. Yeah.
You don't like being outside. Okay, first, I heard something like you're not a fan of design.
My favorite color is pink. I'm a very good dancer, and I'm not a fan of being outside. I'm a homebody. I like to stay at home.
Okay, you're the head of branding and content marketing. And you look like a millennial in the millennial, but may not like hangouts. And I don't mean millennial hangouts, but so I think you're not a lover of pink. I think you're not a lover of pink. I see you as more as a black girl aesthetics. So I think that's the correct answer. Did I get it correct?
Cynthia does not agree.
Cynthia does not agree. I probably think she's a homebody is the correct one. but I might be wrong.
Oh, okay. Okay, you know what? Pick Cynthia's answer. She just helped me. I used my lifeline. I called a
I
co
might be
speaker.
wrong.
You know, I called a co speaker. Oh, you're
I'm
wrong.
literally wearing pink, guys.
I know
No,
she
you can be
loves
wearing
pink.
pink, but
I know
you're
that
not
she
a
loves
fan.
pink. Like,
My
I know
favorite color
that
is
she loves pink. And I
Oh,
know
okay.
that
So
she
truth.
can
how
dance.
about you are a dancer? How about you're a good
I don't know how to
dancer?
dance. I don't even know how to
No.
move my body.
So the
Wow. So
lie
you're
is
not a
the
fan
whole
of the
body.
outside world.
That's a
Happiness. So
lie as
when
well.
they
That's a lie as well. So where is
Hmm.
the truth?
The truth is my favorite color is pink.
oh,
I'm correct. I'm
so
correct.
happiness got it.
Am I not?
Oh, she got it. No,
No.
she said no. Abner said she doesn't think my favorite color is pink. She said I look like a black person.
Okay, well, you could say turn the question, like just Cynthia's cap, just turn Cynthia's cap to the back. That's my answer. Just turn my answer in and out.
No, we got this. We
And
got
you
this. Yeah,
have
you got
it.
it correctly.
Well,
Happiness
thank you
first
so
is
much.
correct.
Yes, thank you so much to all our amazing speakers. We've had a very amazing time. I want to especially thank once again Nabude Edwin Chukwemeka for joining us today. Thank you to the phenomenal women in the room, the amazing Cynthia Afolabi and the phenomenal Oyi Kosala. Thank you so much for joining us. And finally, the awesome, the one who's never a good liar, and gave me my very first point in the game, Yemi Lana. Thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, so
All
one
right.
thing is
Thank
apt
you.
in
Thank you so
everything
much.
that you guys have discussed, all of the insights from branding to marketing to storytelling. Social media is not just a tool, it is a game changer. And the businesses who can fully harness the power of social media marketing are the ones that will take over the next phase of business marketing. For today, the Millennial Hangout speakers to make this webinar very interesting. So if you're our viewers right now, I want you to follow up on all our speakers. Go ahead, follow them across all their socials. Our speakers, you can go ahead and drop your handles, your personal website, LinkedIn connections, on the chat room so they can have access to it. Please follow up on our speakers, follow them, connect with them on LinkedIn, check out their personal websites, and also get more information on what they do and how they can also come, just connect. It's very important. Networking is very important. I personally would follow all the speakers after this. Special thank you once again to all our speakers. Please, can we have you just say hello to our viewers before you go? First, starting with Inabude. Inabude, please say hello to our viewers and a goodbye to them before you go.
Hello. Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay. Great one. Okay. Onyekosala, please say hello and goodbye to our viewers.
Hello everyone. I really hope we were able to answer some of your questions today. Have a great day. And I mean, good luck in running your businesses. Yeah. Bye everyone.
Fantastic. Okay, up next, Yemi Lana.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, paying attention to some of the things that we said. Trust me, everything everyone said is something that will help you scale your business. So just make sure that you're executing and practicalizing the things that were said. And to the speakers, I had an amazing time. I learned a lot from you guys. And thank you, Business Day. Had a great time. Looking forward to another session.
Finally, Cynthia Afolabi.
Thank you, everyone. It was nice having this chat, and I hope it was helpful. And if for any reason you think you have more questions, I think all the speakers are happy to answer them if you just reach out to them. Because hey, we're here to ensure that businesses do the right thing on social media and don't make mistakes.
Fantastic. Okay, once again, I'd like to thank our viewers who have stayed with us from the beginning of this discussion till the end. You guys are the social media game changers. Thank you so much for joining us. So do not forget that this awesome web Business Day. You know, every our speakers and go make. I'll see you. My name is Happiness Godwin, and we have comments right now. Thank you for joining in. I'll see you now.